Hey everyone! Welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Bold and Beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. Liam and his loved ones have been through the ringer, what with him being told he was dying of an inoperable brain mass and then surviving a near-fatal shooting, but hope is on the horizon after a medical miracle was performed. Now Liam can go back to living an uncomplicated life, right? Wrong. Bold and Beautiful just signaled another twist in this storyline, and it's a whopper. In fact, one character may be run right out of town when all is revealed. We all know what led to Liam being rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with a brain bleed, concussion, and ultimately an inoperable brain mass. We're also aware of the devastation that followed the news. Steffy and Finn took Liam in, and he proceeded to hide the truth from everyone else so as to not live out his last days amid a sea of pity. But we knew that couldn't last. Steffy broke down and told Hope, who deserved to know, and Hope told Carter. Steffy also told Taylor. Liam had finally been persuaded to tell his father and brothers when the shooting went down, so Bill was totally in the dark about the diagnosis when he showed up at the hospital. It wasn't long, however, before Hope blurted it out and Bill was left reeling, not only by the news that his son was dying, but that he'd kept something so significant from him. That's when it was Grace Buckingham to the rescue. Once Bill got past a rage-y ridge and into Liam's hospital room, Buckingham informed Bill that there was a top-secret experimental surgery that might rid his son of the brain mass for good, but it would cost big bucks. Dollar Bill didn't blink at the $1 million price tag, and before one could say, "This doesn't seem like standard protocol," Liam was whisked to a private clinic where something amazing went down. In a regular old hospital room that wasn't even a proper OR, Liam was put under and operated on by Grace and a so-called surgeon who exchanged a lot of suspicious looks throughout, and who had no support staff on hand. Liam's head wasn't even shaved before Buckingham made an incision with a scalpel. After a skeptically short amount of time, Grace let Bill in to see his son, who was declared cured by a medical miracle. But we had our doubts. The shifty looks on Grace's face alone would have been enough to signal us that something was fishy. If our hunch is correct, the huge twist coming will reveal that Liam never even had a brain mass. His symptoms after leaving the hospital were consistent with someone suffering from a concussion after a brain bleed, which made the diagnosis seem legit. Grace was the one who found the mass, so she's the one behind the deception. Coincidentally, Grace has been receiving pesky texts and calls from someone demanding. We're guessing either she owes money, or her gambling addict ex has another huge debt to pay off. Given that she wouldn't want to let her daughter's father be killed, Grace may have come up with this scam as a way to solve the problem. Of course, she would have had to fake the scans that she showed to Finn and Bridget, and pay off the so-called miracle surgeon, who was probably just an anesthesiologist. She repeatedly said she trusted her colleague, trusted him to keep his mouth shut, we're guessing. In any case, soaps readers, if Liam's loved ones find out Grace Buckingham tortured them by allowing them, and him, to believe he was dying, she'll be run out of town on a rail. She also fleeced his frantic father out of $1 million smackaroos, but Bill might have deserved it. Regardless, she's in for a world of hurt. Do you think Grace pulled a scam? Grace arrested after Liam's Tumor con job exposed. Prison awaits? The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers hint that Grace Buckingham may be arrested after Liam Spencer's tumor fakeout gets exposed. Will prison await the money grabber in the end? Based on all the evidence that B&B's offering at this point, it seems like Liam was treated for a tumor that never truly existed. Liam indeed landed in the hospital with a brain bleed after his collapse at Bill Spencer's place, but the rest appears to have been an elaborate scheme. It wouldn't have been that hard to swap in other scans for Liam's and make it look like he had an inoperable brain mass. As for the decline in Liam's condition, we'd say the drugs Grace gave him are to blame for that. Grace has seemingly been putting the pieces in place for this scam all along, and once Dollar Bill was there to foot the bill for Liam's medical miracle, she moved to the final phase. In other words, Grace apparently invented Liam's tumor so that she could convince Bill to pay for an unexpected cure. The surgery that Liam just went through probably didn't involve more than a cut on the back of his head to sell this. Of course, Grace is probably scrambling to pay off old debt connected to her ex-husband, Reese Buckingham. It's easy to see that Grace feels guilty about what she's doing, but she may be protecting Zoe Buckingham and Paris Buckingham if they've been threatened over owed money. Regardless of what Grace is up against, it's cruel to manipulate Liam and Bill like this. Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester are manipulation victims too, since they've been dreading Liam's eventual demise. There was no need for any of that if Liam's tumor was a scam from the start. You can bet that Bill will want Grace to pay when the truth inevitably comes out. Grace may ultimately be placed under arrest for faking Liam's grim condition and convincing Bill to pay big bucks for an experimental treatment that wasn't even real. It'll be satisfying if Grace gets dragged away in handcuffs and thrown behind bars. The show may try to give Grace a sob story with all the debt drama, but she deserves to be locked up for her crimes. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Grace won't get away with this indefinitely, so stay tuned for updates on the infuriating news ahead and Bill's fierce reaction. Grace arrested after Liam's tumor con job exposed. Could prison be next? Liam and the people who love him have been through absolute hell lately. First, he was rushed to the hospital and told he was dying from what doctors believed was an inoperable brain mass. Then, just as everyone was trying to process that devastating news, he survived a near-deadly shooting. It was one blow after another, and just when it seemed like there was no way forward, a miracle happened. A surgery, whispered about like some medical urban legend, managed to save Liam's life. With that miracle behind them, it seemed like Liam could finally exhale, like he might be able to return to a normal life without constant fear hanging over him. But this is the Bold and the Beautiful, and nothing is ever that simple, is it? Just when everyone thought the worst was over, a massive new twist threatens to upend everything. And this one could destroy lives, relationships, and reputations. The kind of twist that could drive someone right out of town. Let's rewind a bit. We all remember how this started. Liam collapsed at Bill's house and was rushed to the hospital. Doctors said he had a brain bleed and a severe concussion. But then came the crushing blow. He had a brain mass that couldn't be operated on. That news shattered everyone around him. Finn and Steffy stepped in and brought Liam into their home to care for him, and Liam, not wanting to spend his remaining time being pitted, kept the truth from most of his loved ones. But secrets like that, they never stay buried. Steffy eventually broke down and confided in Hope, who, let's be honest, had every right to know. Hope told Carter. Steffy told Taylor. And Liam was finally ready to tell his father and brothers. But before he could get the words out, everything exploded, literally. He was shot, and the focus shifted from his terminal diagnosis to keeping him alive. That's when Bill showed up at the hospital, completely in the dark about Liam's condition. The look on his face when Hope told him the truth? Pure devastation. His son was dying, and he'd had no idea. Enter Dr. Grace Buckingham. She stepped in at just the right time, offering up a miracle solution, a secret experimental surgery, something that could possibly save Liam. Of course, there was a catch. It came with a price tag that would make most people faint. But not Bill. He didn't hesitate for a second. If there was a chance to save his son, he was going to take it, no matter the cost.